edition of GPP Strong and Elite. Excited because, as we've said all year, there's a great opportunity to make money in these next 3 weeks. There's a $250,000, $250,000 first prize, $27 tournament on DraftKings. There is a 3-entry maximum $4 tournament and a really nice $50,000 $3 tournament. So whatever your budget is that allows you to play 20 lineups, you have a window of opportunity here. So last week, if you watched this video and you followed along, let me just adjust this a little bit. Let's get my Patriots hat on for good luck today. Okay, hold on. There we go. If you watched this last week and you followed along, you would see we just had an unbelievable week. If you followed this video last week and you did not make money, email me. Get in touch because something was wrong. As you may have seen or heard in our strategy session last night, which you have not watched, you go to gppmaster.com and spend the hour with me, Bill Enright, Willie Walls, and Nick Morgan, because we had an incredible playoff strategy session that I think will help everybody cash in the next 3 weeks. It was live last night, on demand on the site for members now. But what you saw, or what we talked about, is I had an incredible run last weekend with my own lineup, finishing 81st in the Millionaire Maker out of 211,000, cashing in nicely on 74% of my lineups, but was just this close to 5th place and really was in the hunt right up until 11:30 Sunday night for the million. Crushing. But you know what? Won nicely, and that's all it takes, right? And we were just that close. And the biggest issue in that lineup was in half of my lineups, as you saw in the video, I went with Shakondrick West because I said if Spencer Ware was out, I loved West. So West was my flex in about 50% of my lineups. And in the other 50%, I plugged in Jeremy Maclin as my flex. Unfortunately, in the lineup to finish 81st, I put in Maclin. And he got 9.3 points. West got 28.6. And that was a difference of 81st place for me in Millionaire Maker and 25 grand 5th place. So wrong pick, wrong spread on that one. Anyway, again, tune into the last night's strategy session on demand on gppmaster.com. Secondarily, check the weather. It's going to be cold in Green Bay. It's going to be cold in Pittsburgh, but I think sunny. It's going to be fine for the Houston-Oakland game, perfect weather. And in Seattle, which is a game I love to target here, unless it's too crappy. So keep an eye. They're talking about rain, snow, and it just depends. Is it terrible rain, pouring, icy, or is it just okay? So check in with us in our text alerts on Sunday morning. The big focus, because this is going to be a 4-team field. This is now where we said all year, the playoffs, the pros leave to the NBA and start to play golf, DFS golf, and we become the pros at GPP Master. These are the 3 weeks that we can really focus in and become elevated to the top with a shorter field. It's like a small NBA slate, 4 teams, so you're going to have a stars and scrubs approach here to get the lineup you need. And you're going to need a hit on your stars, but you're going to need a hit on your scrubs, and you're going to absolutely need to pick the right quarterback. First and foremost, as we said in the strategy session last night, focus on touches and targets. If they don't carry the ball or they don't get thrown the ball, they can't score points, they can't get touchdowns. So for quarterback this week, there's a couple easy eliminations. We only have 8 quarterbacks, and you just can't really screw around with Houston and Oakland. And Miami is iffy because you have Tannehill who's maybe healthy. I feel like there could be hooks in all of those games. If Osweiler's not going well, you could see Savage. I don't know what McGlointel's going to be yet, but you could even see a hook there, and you could actually certainly see one in the Miami game if Tannehill is active. So keep an eye on Tannehill if he's active. My number 1 quarterback this week is going to be Russell Wilson at $7,000. Again, checking the weather in Seattle. Love him in this game. I just think that this is going to be a Seattle sprint. I don't think Seattle's very good, but I think they're going to win this game, and they're going to win it going away. And they're not running. They can't run right at anybody right now. So they're going to have to throw to win. And Detroit's got a pretty good run defense. My second quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. I do worry about the Giants defense. I do worry about that. But Aaron Rodgers is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now. And playing like it. And that's tough to not put in your lineup, right? I mean, at home, in a big game, he's used to the cold weather. He's got great weapons. And look, they don't have a running game at all. Zero either. So they're going to have to throw on the Giants. You can't run on the Giants anyway. You can't throw on the Giants, but you can throw better than you can run. So I'm going to put my money on Aaron Rodgers to try to win in a certainly good chunk of my lineups. And the third, you have this third question: is it Eli or Big Ben? And I'm going to go with Eli. Vegas has like a 44 over/under in that game, a little higher one in the Pittsburgh game. But my concern with Pittsburgh is ball control. Miami has the 30th run defense. We'll come back to that, and it just could turn into the Le'Veon Bell, DeAngelo Williams show. And if that does happen, and potentially Miami trying to do the same thing with Jay Ajayi, if that does happen, you could lose some Big Ben opportunities. On the flip side, the Giants can't run on Green Bay or anybody. And Eli, the Giants just throw. They throw from the 1 to 3 to 5. So Eli can have one of those awful days like he had early in the season in Green Bay, but he can also throw 2 deep balls to Beckham, and you've hit pay dirt. So Eli will be my third. He's obviously cheaper too than both Wilson and Rodgers. Running back. So look, 4-game slate. This starts to become like a cash slate, or a cash game rather. I just don't know how you can fade Le'Veon Bell. I know he's $10,300. I don't care if he's $12,000, as Willie said on the panel last night. I just don't know how you can fade him. What I'm going to do, if I have 30 lineups, I will use him in 27 of them, and I will fade him in 3. And when I fade him, I will replace him with DeAngelo Williams, because look, Bell could get hurt, and if he does, DeAngelo is going to be a low-owned stud. DeAngelo could score touchdowns and steal them away. You just don't know how that's going to go. But 80% to 90% of my lineups will have Le'Veon Bell, which means you have to pay down. So the question is, where are you going to pay down? Are you going to save money at tight end? Yes. Are you going to save money at defense? Absolutely. Are you going to save money at receiver? You can. Running back's a little trickier, because to pay down, you're looking at guys like Richard from the Raiders, who has the potential to have a big game and a long passing touchdown, but I just don't know if the Raiders are going to score. I mean, they have the lowest total, 16 points I think they're expected to score in that game, and you could end up with a 0 with Richard. I do think you should keep an eye on Jonathan Grimes if Miller is out, only if Miller is out or inactive. But other than that, he's the same thing. He can end up with a big 0. Perkins or Rashad Jennings, pretty cheap, but I don't know if the Giants can run. But at least those guys are going to get touches, right? At least they're going to actually get the ball. So when you don't use Eli Manning, you can try to save some money with either of the Giants' backs, whichever one you like. I think for me it would be Jennings, but I don't think either of them are going to have a very high ceiling. I'm not going to get a lot of points. So for me, and this is really outside the box, I will be stacking Le'Veon Bell and DeAngelo Williams in some lineups where I do not have Big Ben. So if I have Eli or Rodgers or Wilson at quarterback, I'm sorry, not Eli. Eli, Rodgers, and Wilson at quarterback, there will be some lineups where I actually go Bell and DeAngelo. Why? Because they both can have a big game, especially if it turns into a blowout. They both can have more. I think DeAngelo can have more points and a higher ceiling than any of these scrub running backs for a little bit more money, and I can save at tight end and defense. The other guy I do like Lamar Miller, assuming he's active and healthy. 23rd rushing defense there on the other side for Oakland, and Brock Osweiler can't beat anybody in the air, so you're going to be looking for Lamar Miller to perform in that game, and I think he's a good bet, but he's not cheap, right? Doesn't make it easy to have Bell and Miller. That's $16,400 there. So I'd rather cut down and stack it with DeAngelo, or go all the way down to one of the Giants backs, because at least they're going to get touches.